Woo! It is cold as fucking here. My God. Stay. Alright, here we go into this dirty bike that I am never going to clean because I am a lazy person. But, do you see the pipe will bolt onto the engine, but you see how one of the flange is kind of cocked a little bit? It's kind of cocked, twisting to the left, so there's a little bit of gap there. Now I checked mine, focus, there you go. I checked mine by covering up the exhaust. The bike died. I don't have any residue coming out of the bottom there, so I'm confirming that I do not have an exhaust leak. However, do this at your own disclosure. You could break your pipe, you could break your engine if you force anything or try to do it wrong. I'm not responsible. I'm going to tell you my experience and how I got this pipe to fit. So, it doesn't sit correctly on the engine, but it sits close enough. It has slotted mounts just like the stock pipe. If it had holes, it probably wouldn't fit because you wouldn't have that down-facing wiggle room there. Now, this is where the pipe differs between, I think this pipe fits a Honda Vision, which is a bike they sold overseas, I think. This is where the pipe differs. So, I had to use a different bolt because the pipe, when it's on the engine, so I think the Vision, correct me if I'm wrong, had 12-inch wheels, so there's a lot more room. So the pipe's bigger physically than the stock one, way bigger. And so I think the mount sends out a little bit further. So I'm going to show you where the discrepancies lie. So if you look down here, you can't see that bottom hole. I'm not using the bottom hole because I used this exhaust on this engine for probably 2 or 3 years with just the top bolt in, and it was fine. So using just the top bolt didn't fit directly in at first, but with the pipe like kind of lightly tightened onto the engine, just snugged a little bit, I was able to get this longer bolt. You need a longer bolt because your stock bolt will not fit. It's too short. And you also need to be careful of, so there's no opening back here. I can get the phone in there. No, but just trust me on it, there's no opening back there. So, if you get a bolt that's too long and you don't space it out here correctly, it's going to strip out your hole. And then you can't mount this pipe at all because, like I said, the bottom mount doesn't line up at all. So, with putting the bolt in and kind of lightly pushing it forward, I got it to meet the hole back here, where you'll find the pipe sits about, if I had to guess, probably about an inch or so away from the engine. So usually what I would do is try to get a custom spacer made if you want to run this pipe. So what I did, I'm going to show you what I did. So these are two not exhaust bolts, axle nuts, front axle nuts from a GY650. We had a few junked that I grabbed these off of, and I'm glad I did. 2 GY650 front axle bolts, and this is the washer that is behind the bolt that holds the flywheel on the GY6 for 150. I had about 2 of these laying around, so that's what I did to space this motor out, and it was damn near perfect. The bolt that I used was a little too long, so we have, courtesy of Stage 6, Shiny, the 5.5 gram, the slider roller weight inserts to space this bolt out. Now, this may look rigged, but yeah, there we go. If you never watched the channel, I am the king of rigging. So, when I ordered that pipe, Brandon over at Scooter Swap Shop saw the post on the Facebook group and let me know right away that the pipe wouldn't fit. Now, when the pipe got here, despite being prepared to kind of do a little bit of fab work, it didn't look like it was going to be an issue. But indeed, you have to rig it up a little bit to get it to fit. Now, what are the gains? Really nothing as far as I'm concerned. So, with the new belt and the stock pipe, which is laying over there, the bike did 39. The belt, a little bit more broken in today, and the first time I actually rode the bike on the street, did 41. So, I'm putting that mostly on the Variator though. I don't think that's the exhaust. So this exhaust, as you'll hear in the sound clip, has a little bit more ping, it's a little more tingy. Aside from that, everywhere else in the throttle range sounds exactly the same as stock. And what this pipe actually does is it moves the power band up ever so slightly. So, alright, so let's say I'm sitting at a stoplight. I just got my pizza, as I usually do. And I look to my right, and picture that as not a broken down scooter that a college kid completely destroyed because he was late to his wrestling practice. But picture that as, I don't know, someone who has their life figured out and isn't making very stupid decisions. I don't know, let's say they drive, you fucking got me, Volkswagen Beetle. Let's say I got a Beetle sitting right here at the stoplight. I'm rigged up, raring to go. I get on the gas, goes nowhere for about 5 seconds. So, the bog that is happening with that, happened when I put the Variator on, which is kind of expected a little bit. You know, it's got a little bit of a bog. But this pipe moving that power band up ever so slightly made the bog almost unbearable. So now what I'm going to have to do is get clutch springs to make the clutch grab later so it grabs on the power band. This thing is sketchy to wheelie anyways, but that makes it about 10 times worse. And I don't like bogging while I'm pulling away from an intersection. I'd like to, you know, get on the gas and just have it take off. That thing doesn't bog because the clutch is tuned properly. But if you just bolt this pipe onto your bike, that is one negative that I've noticed of it. It's a great stock replacement for keeping sound levels down and looking better than the stock pipe. But unless you're doing motor mods, this is a stock 50cc cylinder. It's the stock engine. Polini high-speed Variator. I'm going to talk about that next. But it made that bog so much worse. So, yeah, it's a thing to think about. You have to mod other stuff if you put a pipe on your bike because it might not work the exact same as stock. So, am I glad that I did the pipe? Yeah, it looks good. It looks better than stock. Matches the bike very well. Keeps sound levels down. Had I thought about it more, I probably would have got a different pipe though. But this will work for now. So what I'm really happy about is this Variator. It's under the cover, you can't see it. I didn't really record me installing it because I don't really like, you know, documenting me being an idiot, because you could probably guess that just from watching the videos and from the shit sitting in this garage. You don't need it on camera, but this is the Polini high-speed Variator from Scooter Swap Shop, and the tip for installing it, if you haven't seen a video already, is use your stock Variator Boss because it works better. I don't know how it works better because it is actually the same length as the stock one, but the stock one has a little bit different curvature, so that might have something to do with it. But I got the Polini high-speed Variator. I am running the 6.3 gram weights because, I mean, not really fat, but I mean, you know, it's there. Poor bike. So yeah, 6.3 gram sliders to get the RPMs up a little bit faster, and that is what I'm most happy with on this bike. It woke this bike up. So before, it would only do 30 max, like sitting up. In a tuck, I could sometimes get 40, or not 40, fucking not even close, 33. But sitting up, it would not do over 30. And that little Tao back there, that $180 Chinese POS, Could absolutely destroy this thing if we held it wide open. Now, on the ride today, we raced. Obviously, the Typhoon got away from both of them and could not catch back up. I'm about 40 pounds heavier than the guy that was riding this, Hunter. And I left the light late, and the bog killed me too. I had a tire between my legs, I had one of these Zuma tires between there, and I walked them down. I walked down the Tao Tao. So the Tao Tao is now officially the slowest bike in the garage. Hallelujah, as it should be. You suck. Yeah, kinda. So, the top speed that I got with that tire between my legs on a flat road in a light tuck, I can't really tuck that far, but holding the throttle open, did 41 even, 41.00. I call that a win. It doesn't seem fast, but you gotta think. 10 miles an hour, when you're maxing out at 30, is huge. I can actually ride this on the street now. Still, you know, annoying people, but that's kind of what scooters do. Scooters exist to annoy the not fun havers of the world. That's what this thing does. Took her out today. She rides good. I can actually cruise at like half throttle in traffic. No worries. Had a few people ask me about it today. Someone was actually trying to buy it. We will see. We will see. But that Variator really woke this bike up, and it made it just beautiful.